Three cars, 400 miles, new untested racetrack.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Viva Las Vegas, boys, go racing! Pretty tense right now, guys. The track's been laying there in the sun all morning, pretty hot. Slick enough when they get going around here with the cars, but it's really bad on the first few laps.
Kane, Stremme, Sadler, Jeff Burton fighting Montoya side by side for fourth.
Whoa. Looked like Montoya may have scraped the wall going down into one.
But Darrell, definitely the track is the hottest it's been since these guys have been here. We got one all the way against the wall.
David Reagan
in the 6 car. And caution will wave.
He got up high, Larry. We've seen that time and time again. Got that dirt all over his tires and could not get the car back down.
And David comes in here 5th in the points, the top finishing rookie in the first 2 races.
We said expect the unexpected. The one thing we expected was matching yesterday's record number of caution flags, and here's a reason why.
Yeah, you see, just gets up out of the groove. Now you watch the dust start to fly. See the dust and dirt that's coming up around the car? That's just that's residue from the tires and the sand and everything else that's up against the outside wall.
And Darrell, we talked about no grip. The higher you go, the worse it gets.
Rookie David Reagan, 5th at Daytona, highest rookie in the point standings, first car to test the outside wall in Las Vegas. I wonder how many, or should I say how few, green flag pit stops we'll have today. They restart with 5 laps complete.
Jeff Burton, that 31 car, got a heck of a restart. It is legal to pass to the outside, to the right side, once the green flag has been displayed on a restart.
Yeah, and it's a guy, you're not supposed to, if you're driving your car, you're supposed to protect that right side. A couple guys didn't do that very well.
Teammates Reed Sorensen, Juan Pablo Montoya. Sorensen 41.
Now this is one thing I think we're going to see a lot of, though. These cars can run side by side. We have 2 very distinctive racing grooves. I think it just depends on where your car works the best.
See those 3 Dodges right there. The 2-car Kurt Busch, hometown boy here. This is a home game for him. He works to the inside of Sorensen in the 41. Said winning at Vegas would mean more to him than winning anywhere else on the NASCAR Cup circuit. That's his brother Kyle Busch, the 5 behind him, ran 2nd yesterday.
They had a pretty good go of it yesterday for a number of laps. Larry, we're talking about on the restarts how you protect the right-hand side. And, of course, you look in your mirror and be sure that the guy that is behind you is not going to try to jump up on that right side and take advantage of you. Watch what happened to Casey Mears back here about mid-pack. Here he comes right here down at the bottom of the screen. Here he comes. He jumps out right there. Johnny Sauter said, no way am I going to allow that, and tried to put him in the fence.
You can see well over 155 miles per hour with the Fox tracks by the time he got to the start-finish line to take the green. Well, I know right now Casey Kane in that 9 car, it may not stay there, but he has set sail on these boys.
Sadler and Stremme fighting for 2nd place. Well, not much of a fight, was it?
It was not a fight at all.
Those 2 Dodges.
But David Stremme had a
trouble
good run
turn 1.
yesterday.
Big pile up. Casey Mears is in it. Robbie Gordon.
And this is about the way that Casey Mears' day started yesterday, about this time before lap 10 in the Busch race.
It's just really, really difficult to hook these cars up with the tire combination that they have on these cars. It's just very difficult.
An unhappy birthday weekend for Casey Mears and Ward Burton, the state water heaters car, also involved. It's hard to get hooked up, Darrell, but it looks easy when a car gets loose to hook one into the fence.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's no saving it. They just snap around. We saw Casey Mears here on that restart, though. Saw him right here. Here he goes. We saw him on that restart try to get up on the outside. He got in the fence a little bit, but I don't think that had anything to do with what happens to him here.
Ooh.
It's almost like it all started with Robbie Gordon in the 7. Ward Burton in the 4 got together.
Yeah, Robbie drove down underneath Ward, and they got together, and Casey was high on the outside in the 25 and put him in the fence.
It was just a victim, and that's exactly what he was yesterday on that first caution, was just a victim.
Just really, Well, you can see Robbie really stuck his nose in under Ward Burton in the 4 car there. A little bit, maybe he should have been a little more patient than that this early in the race, and particularly with all the conversation we've had about the track and the tires and everything.
Robbie Gordon started 38th, was trying to move up through the field, and of those 3 cars, Gordon's has the least amount of damage. He's back on track after a pit stop.
Well, we've run 9 laps. We've got 3 cars in the garage already.
And we got a bunch of takers on pit road, starting with Juan Pablo Montoya in the 42, and everybody from about 15th back on pit road.
Jeff Burton for second again. Took the inside and used up a lot of racetrack getting second away from Casey Kane.
But we heard that Casey Kane was already starting to not like his race car, that it was starting to slide around. He's lost 2 positions. Looks like he's going to lose a 3rd one here to Kyle Busch in the 5. 16 laps into this run.
But it's very early, Larry, and when Casey Kane starts on the pole on a 1.5 mile track, he usually ends up in victory lane.
Tell you what, a new racetrack has a tendency. Oh,
Turn 4.
Turn 4, got a car around. Joe Nemechek. Here comes Dave Blaney into the wall. 22. Looks like those 2 are the only 2. Blaney just tried to get on the brakes to stop, and it turned him right.
No right front. Has no right front.
Now, Blaney has been Toyota's brightest hope in this young season. He's been the best running Camry at Daytona and California. He's one of only 2 Toyotas to make the field here, and it looks like his day is over.
Yeah, he's having really bad luck.
That's 2 of our guys in the top 12 that have already had problems here before lap 20. Joe Nemechek comes in here in the top 10. We've already had the problem with David Reagan.
This is what you're going to see with the 13 car Joe Nemechek is what we've been talking about. The cars they just turn sideways all at once, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. See, that car's already stepped out right there. Of course, when somebody runs into you, that helps. That's a different story too.
But Darrell, I think when it stepped out, he had to get completely out of the throttle.
Yeah, he had to get out of the gas, and when he did, Boyer ran into him. And
Boyer was in the throttle, and Nemechek was not.
Right, and Blaney was trying to miss him and got on the brakes, and it turned him right into the fence.
Jamie McMurray, Matt Kenseth drive by and miss it, and so does Scott Riggs. But it all happens in a blink of an eye.
NASCAR and XL Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, and proud sponsor of Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the number 8 car.
Spinning down the front straightaway, rookie Eric Almirola, the Joe Gibbs development driver, who qualified this number 80 to race today, and might have just made a little light contact, maybe with the outside wall as the car snapped around coming off 4.
Yeah, he just turned 4. It's got an odd transition to it, and the car will snap loose. We've heard a number of drivers complain about loose off. He was loose off, but it did hit the wall pretty hard once it came around with him.
Started in go-karts at age 8 and has impressed everybody ever since to earn this opportunity to race in Nextel Cup.
Just gets around with him. We've seen that time and time again. If he'd had the wheels turned, well, no, that was not anything he could do with that. That was a good job to minimize the contact.
Nice shot from our ultimate picture cam. And we're under caution once again.
Pretty good timing, Larry. I think the guys were needing some gas.
Well, that was the longest green run that we have had right there. We're going to see everybody on pit road. It's been 17 laps since that restart, so I think you will see feeding time. The only car left on the racetrack will probably be the pace car.
Look who's popped up into the top 10, Clint Boyer. In Richard Childress's 07. Christie, he was the fastest car in practice yesterday, and now he's in the top 10.
Yes, he was, and in fact, in the last few laps before that last pit stop, he was the fastest car once again. Remember, he had that problem earlier, but they got that all worked out. Now, like a good blackjack dealer, he has just had to shuffle his way through the field. He is doing just that. The car is just where they want it. In fact, he said earlier in the race, he was really good center and up off, and he said that is where we are going to wear them out all day long. Caution is out.
Johnny Sauter.
He pounded it off of 4.
Yep.
Get down there. Get down there.
Sudden impact.
Go around.
Slots it, Voti. Just too loose, dude.
Oh, I know. Okay, just plug it to. Just ease it on in there. Just ease it on in there. Get it in the pits.
No brakes. so it's definitely got a brake problem.
10 pole.
He's hit the wall so hard it's probably knocked the brake line loose or something. He's not going to be able to stop.
You can see brake parts coming out from under the car.
I'm sure it broke the rotor because he pounds it real hard. You see he gets the back end around and then it snaps right into the fence. And it was a hard lick.
Or Reed Sorensen in the 41 just getting by.
There he goes right up top screen. Hard right with the hit the wall with the right front tire.
I know this wasn't a very timely caution for Johnny Sauter, obviously, but boy, it was a very timely caution for guys like Matt Kenseth and Greg Biffle. They were just about to go a lap down here when this caution came out.
And that's partly on the 17 car. Remember, he stayed out and led that lap. He restarted at the rear of the field on that last restart, and he almost paid the price for it.
Steve?
Mike, a little bit of an experiment for Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 8 car on its last stop. They took right side tires only. They had noticed on the previous stops that the tire wear was very good, so they wanted to try 2 now to see how that car will handle for later in the race.
Steve, there's no question. If you want to find out, you need to find out now and not wait till later on in the race and find out it's not a good science project.
Yeah, I just think when you've got a hard tire like we have here, changing them isn't going to do a whole lot of good.
Turn 4, Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch around in front of a whole bunch of cars. Nobody hits him. He doesn't hit anything. Safe.
We're fine.
Denny Hamlin, the 11, Montoya, the 42, and Joe Nemechek, the 13, who's back out on the racetrack.
All right, come on.
They had to go down pit road.
And David Stremme maintain that position. He'll get back on the lead lap.
And I love it. Man, you don't know what it's like to have a car. You're coming off the corner, car spinning in front of you, and you sit there and you got to hold the steering wheel steady. Don't hit the brake. Wait for him to get out of the way.
From Jeff Burton's car.
Watch this. This. I mean, Jeff just sits here and watch. Now listen.
Still clear. Nice job, buddy. Nice job. Keep coming. Keep coming. Cautious out.
Now Burton got some damage, didn't he?
Got hit in the right rear.
He got damage.
You could hear it.
Yeah.
And you can see it almost right there.
But you just see all these cars are right behind the Kyle Busch, and man, more of them didn't wad up. I don't know. He's working that thing, baby. He's fighting it.
And just remember, before that last caution, he was going backwards, and he told his crew, hey, I'm loose. They changed 4 tires and made adjustment, but still way too loose.
He almost got hit there by both the Yates cars, Gilliland and Rudd. Almost T-boned him.
He wasn't snickering either, was he? The batteries are run today. They're real small. They don't weigh a lot. I think that'd be just a real insurance policy. Particularly, I can just remember Junior Johnson. We always thought about things that would cost us a championship. And a battery failure was one high on the list.
And one reason we wouldn't do it before, the batteries were so big and heavy. But as you said, it's almost half the size of the batteries we used to race.
What about weight, though, Larry?
Well, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
They don't weigh that much anymore.
Right. 2 of the batteries today almost weigh what 1 used to weigh.
Okay. Here's our final AT&T Singular Virtual Crew Chief question of the day. We've been batting it around up here. Mark Martin is the point leader. Should he come to Bristol? Should he go on and race the full season and try to win the championship that's eluded him for so long? Text your answer and let us know. We'll share our thoughts with you when your answers come up.
See Jeff Gordon, our leader in the 24 car.
Turn 4.
Caution down, caution.
Paul Menard in the 15 car.
Boy, that's a lot better spin today than he did when he was qualifying.
The left front damage.
Got a little left front damage.
Didn't hit very hard at all, but yeah, just flat lost it.
Menard coming up out of the NASCAR Busch Series after having a good bit of success in open wheel. Brings out the caution flag. This would be the 7th one of the day.
You see, gets up there and the car just gets out from under him. Doesn't really hit the left front that hard, just kind of scrapes it.
Ah, that was nothing. This is Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Qualifying.
He gets air here. Yahoo!
The reason this happened He ran his first lap good enough to make the field, but he misunderstood his crew chief telling him the time and thought he had to try to go faster. He kept it off the wall. He made the race. Casey Kane thought that was pretty cool. Of course, Kane ended up on the pole, and Menard made the race.
Yeah, he knew he needed to run like a 90, and they said 90. He thought they said 40. And he said, buddy, I got to step it up here about a half a second. That didn't quite work out.
He stepped it up, and it stepped out from under him.
He's had a pretty eventful weekend, though, running the Busch Series race as well as the NEXTEL Cup race.
But we were talking about a minute ago how important these pit stops are. We know we got another one coming up, and you don't want to make mistakes. And here's one that cost Mark Martin. He comes into the pit, and everything's looked like business as usual. Hits his mark, the team goes to work. But watch as the right rear tire changer finishes up, and he did a great job. They lost a lug nut. He had to stay there, put that on, and what it did, it slowed down the entire stop. Mark was only about 4 seconds behind the leader at that time, but when he came back out, all of a sudden he was 8 seconds behind. But here's a caution. It's going to help equal things up. But for Clint Boyer, guys, that don't look too good for him.
Clint Boyer pounds the wall in turn number 2, and that will put us under the 8th caution of the day, Jeff. Boyer, who was fastest in yesterday's practice and who came from a lap down to come back and lead this race, is now going to limp back.
It's junk. Go to the garage.
Yep. I'd say it's that dreaded lack of grip. Just got down in there, and right where you want to rotate the car and make the turn, it jumped out from under him.
And Mike, he just had went into the top 10. He was running 10th the last time by. Remember, that's another car came in here to the top in the top 10 in points. Now he'll be in the garage here. Came in here 6th.
18 laps to go in Las Vegas. Jimmy Johnson, your leader. Here's how he got there. Lap 62 way back then, passing Mark Martin for his first lead of the race, but then pit problems, a tire violation while on pit road, penalized all the way back to 25th for Jimmy Johnson and crew. But Chad Knaus rallied his troops. They made it up. Watch a nice save here by Jimmy Johnson. Talk about a grip, hanging on, and then taking the lead here. 16 leaders, a record, track record, 28 lead changes. Jeff Gordon has led the most laps, Jeff Hammond, but Jimmy Johnson may lead the most important.
He may lead the most important, but right now we got a problem around the racetrack. We got a caution, Casey Kane, bringing out our 9th caution of the day. Mike.
Another incident where a driver gets back on the gas and the car steps out from under him. Our pole sitter, Casey Kane, hard in the wall, turn 2.
Exactly what happened to him about this point in the race yesterday.
I would have thought that turns 1 and 2 would be getting kinder to these guys because it's shading down. They're getting a lot of shade on that turn. But you know what it shows? You can hang on to these things for a while, but you just can't hang on to them all day when they're not right.
And he was in a bad situation there, Darrell, to the inside of David Gilliland, the 38.
If you want to know what sucked around means, well, that's what it means right there. He got sucked around by the car on the outside.
Not that Gilliland did anything wrong.
Oh, no. And these cars, they're all pretty loose in. That helps them turn off where you can get off the corner. But, man, he just couldn't hang on to that one. You get yourself in that position, you're hoping the guy on the outside will back off early.
It's the 9th caution flag of the day. Boy, that silence just before the storm is deafening, isn't it?
That's a 3,400-pound wrecking ball right there.
It's not what Steve Letarte and Jeff Gordon's crew wanted to see. Was a caution here with about 17 laps to go. We've got a few takers on pit road.
Well, pit road was not open, but Jeff Burton's got a problem. He had to come in, try to get that ignition problem straightened out. But how about Dale Earnhardt Jr.?
Woo.
Well, this will be a penalty. Pit road is closed. He will have to restart the race at the tail end of the longest line. And this actually could go down to the fact of possibly being restarted with 10 or less laps to go. Would be a single file restart. Huge mistake right here by this 8 car.
Woo.